Marina, what does a panelist do on a panel discussion? Because I want to know. If I ever do one, what will be expected of me?
Okay, so when you do a panel discussion, if someone invites you to be a part of the panel, there are usually 3 or 4 people, maybe 5, who will be on a panel with you. And you will have a conversation about a specific topic. Probably before the event, the organizers will tell you what will be the theme, so you can prepare a little bit. And when you get prepared, when you're on a panel discussion, try to be useful for people. Give tips, advice from your experience. It's not that much about showing off and like presenting yourself like you're very cool. The more value you bring to people, the more you resonate with people, the more they will remember you and think like, oh, that was something that really resonates with me. He understands me. He talks about something that's important to me. So this is one of the very important things when you are in a panel discussion. Think about the audience first, and then you craft your answer according to the audience.
But what happens if you're a panelist on a panel discussion and you disagree with what one of the other panelists has said? Can you actually tell them that you disagree?
It happens.
It does happen.
And sometimes you have the opposite answer to the question or the opposite opinion, which is totally fine. And you can be, please just be polite with the person. You can even, when the person finishes the answer, you can say, oh, actually, I would like to add something to that. And you can share your honest but very gentle and kind opinion. You don't want to be the opposite of the person. You want to add some more value to the audience, as I mentioned, right? We first serve the audience, and that's okay to have a different opinion. Yes, I think, AJ, what you said is very valuable. But I have some experience which made me think that people can experience the different way of doing stuff, or maybe they can try things in a different way. If we talk about acting, you say, oh, this is the only way that will help you to get the audition for the big movies. And I would say, it can be the way, and I'm glad that you've done it and you got to the big movies. But I had another experience, which I would like audience also to know, how else they can get to the big movies. How else? What else they can do? How they can try it in a different way. So I'm adding to you, but I'm not confronting you. But if you something that I really disagree with this, I will be like, actually, I would disagree with this answer, and here's why. I understand your point of view, but I think that the audience may have different perspectives, and maybe they will be willing to do your approach, or maybe they will take on some of my tips. Let the audience decide which one is the best, which will serve them more.
Are you saying, though, that you should never fight fire with fire? What if the other panelist is very aggressive or very fiery or just not a very nice person? Do you still just be like, oh, well, you know, I understand, but... Or should you come back in the same way that they have come forward?
What do you want to achieve with this panel discussion? If you want more attention to yourself, you can use it as a marketing tool. But be very, very careful to that, because first, you need to think about the organizers, if they would want that. You can play it out. It can be thought through and set on stage on purpose, but you talk about it before. If not, and you really disagree, then you want to think how you want to be received. If you are angry, there was a situation with, what was his name? The actor who stood up for his wife, a very famous actor.
Will Smith.
Will Smith. When someone said the wrong thing about his wife, he stood up and he opposed the person. And then, in a while, he apologized, but it triggered him. And it was the cost of this answer. Are you willing to take on this? Are you willing to confront whatever comes after that? He did a good thing. He stood up for his wife. But it
I will disagree with you on that point, but carry on.
can be, it depends on the situation, how you look at it. Or maybe, I'm not talking about him, but maybe a person would like to get some attention and just to confront
Violence is
another.
never an answer.
It's never an answer.
No, it's never an answer.
But I'm talking about the marketing tools. I'm talking about business and marketing stuff. You can use I'm not saying that you should use the violence. You can use the situation to address some stuff. For example, saying that the person is wrong and just play on the hype. But is that what you want for you and your business? This is the most important question, because there are famous people who just fight and they do the wrong things, and this is the part of their brand. They are okay with that. The majority of people will not do this. And probably if you want to be received as the expert and the person who wants to help people, be violent on stage is not the best thing. And to confront another person and argue a lot, and to be on public just discussing the specific point, it's not the core of the moderation, not the purpose of this panel discussion. So why would you do this? Share your opinion? Yes, but keep it more quiet.
Okay. Looking at a more peaceful side of being on a panel discussion, is it the kind of place where you can sell yourself or really market your business?
Well, it's one of the ways which you think about. If you get on the panel discussions, is there a way to promote my business or sell my stuff? The short answer is no, don't do it. Don't ever sell from the stage, except that you're expected to do this. And let me do it again. What is this? So usually you do not sell on stage. It's not the thing to do unless people expect you that you will sell something if there's a promotional event. But usually you do not promote it directly, yourself as an expert or your business. But what you can do is you can share the stories about your business, about your work with the clients, you work with an actor, right? You can talk about your work with the directors, your work on the movies, you work with people who will help to get more acting experience or more job as an actor. So these different stories will position you as a person who knows about the subject and how you help the person, and you actually help the person or someone to get the results that they want. Then after that, after the event, or maybe even on stage, a moderator can ask you some extra questions, or the audience, if the format of the panel discussion is Q&A, and the audience can ask you questions. You can add some more value with your answers in the stories. Or after panel discussion, people can come to you and ask more about your experience, your business, and whatever you have to offer.
So you can use your position as a panelist to generate interest in who you are and what it is you do, and then hopefully that will lead people to want to find out more. It's perfect sales technique.
Exactly. But you do not directly sell. You sell it in an indirect way.
Yeah.
By serving people and helping them. And also when the moderators will say that you try to bring so much value to people, you think about the audience first, and maybe you're engaging. And you try to think of the stories that really will be helpful in these particular situations. In this particular question, they will think like, oh, he's so good. We have to invite him again. We have to recommend him to other panel discussions or to other public speaking events. So you'll get more opportunities. Public speaking events, panel discussions are great ways to build your network and get yourself out more, to build your referral networks. But for the events, not just for clients, but for the event organizers who communicate with each other. And people like good events, and audience and organizers. The organizer's job is to bring more value to people so they would come back, they would want to come for another event. The organizers will make money, you will have your fame, promotion, and just exposure to a wider audience.
I just want to ask you a quick question about logistics of panel discussions. Obviously, in the past few years, since around the pandemic, Zoom panel discussions really became a big thing all around the world. We didn't have much choice. Do you think, in your experience, that an online panel discussion is as interesting and effective as an in-person panel discussion?
Well, a lot depends on the moderator. So what is a Zoom panel discussion? It's just an event with a few speakers, the few speakers who also want to help the audience. At any time, the offline event is more engaging than the online event. But if there are no options or there are a group of speakers who can bring a lot of value, people will come. What is this? An online conference. It's just a live online conference where you can answer the questions, and it's much easier to take questions from the audience because you just say, oh, please raise your hand and we will just turn you on, and you can ask a question to any of the person, to any of the panel discussion panelists, and you get your answer.
Is a conference and a panel discussion two different things, or are they part of the same thing?
They can be in one event. You can have a panel discussion in a conference, or you can have a conference where every session is one person speaking. It can be just a discussion of two people too, kind of the interview, but it's already not a panel discussion. So the panel discussion can be a part of the conference or a separate event, but a conference, it's not necessarily a panel discussion. And by the way, if you want to give a TEDx talk on a TEDx conference, I have a free guide for you that will help you to get to the TEDx stage as a public speaker. That's not a panel discussion, but it's something that will build up your credibility as a public speaker, and maybe you'll get more panel discussions in the future. So if you want this guide and more public speaking tips, check the link in the description below. And if you want to be a professional public speaker, check this video next.